Hi, everyone. First, I just wanted to do another thank you to our author panelists who joined us for our first two sessions today at Edelweiss Presents Again. Once again, I'm Gabriella, and I'm so excited to introduce our next session. I hope you save some room for dessert because we are finishing out today with a special presentation of our Editor's Pick series that is devoted to all things food. During Editor's Picks Potluck, representatives from some of our favorite publishers will be presenting cooking and food titles that they love, and think you will too. Our moderator for the day is our very own Dan Frid. Dan has been with Edelweiss since 2020, having joined our newly expanded UK and Europe team. Dan had previously provided new bookseller training and support at Bertram Books, and also helped wife Leanne open Bookbugs and Dragon Tales Bookshop in Norwich, England, where he works every day from the basement next to the grown-up books room. Bookbugs is primarily a children's bookshop and art center, aiming to provide an inclusive space for children to discover books through play. Dan's proudest bookseller moment was winning the BA Bookseller Hero Award in 2021 for helping booksellers engage with technology through COVID. Dan says that his approach to cooking is largely experimental, using ingredients that come to hand, as forward planning regarding ingredients is not his strong point. So welcome, Dan, and take it away.
Thank you so much, Gabriella, and it's lovely to be here. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I've been lucky enough to be at the Frankfurt Book Fair and the BA Bookseller Conference in the last 2 weeks. At the BA Bookseller Conference, it was opened by British TV chef Andy Oliver, which was a wonderful event. So I just wanted to say, firstly, thank you to everybody for joining. The proceeds for this event all go towards funding Edelweiss Ascend. The missions and vision for Edelweiss Ascend is to, I forget to share my screen. Hold on a second. I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm back in the room. So the mission and vision for Edelweiss Ascend is to transform the book and technology industries into fields that reflect the diversity of our world. We envisage a society where equity and inclusion are woven into the fabric of our institutions, making life fuller, more promising, and more productive for everyone. Your participation in today's event will help fund paid internships for people of colour in the book industry and tech organisations. Thank you to all publishers who have contributed. So, to begin with, we are going to I'm going to introduce you to Courtney Watkins from Andrews McMeel, and they are going to introduce two books to you. Over to you, Courtney.
Well, thank you very much. I'm so pleased to be here and excited to share two cookbooks with you all. And these cookbooks, one is vastly different from the other. So let's get started. The first one is Forest and Home. This cookbook is going to ignite your palate and nourish your soul as it dishes out recipes that are both fulfilling and healing. Creator Spencer McGowan, a respected cook and herbalist, brings nature into the kitchen, revealing the world of plants through food. She offers delicious alternative ways to address health issues, a more natural approach to these kinds of challenges than what is the norm these days, you know, just taking a pill. And the recipes, they move with the seasons, so you'll be using the freshest ingredients available depending upon the time of year. That's all to say that these recipes are not only good, but good for you. For example, there's roasted asparagus with chamomile and ghee to soothe your nerves, and dandelion pesto to help with digestion. And for a refreshing way to chill out, mix up a lemon balm mojito. The cookbook appeals to everyone looking to boost their health while not giving up flavorful fare. And it's suited for everybody because the recipes do not require you to be an experienced chef or possess a knowledge of medicinal herbalism or own expensive kitchen tools. Mixed in with the collection of recipes are McGowan's personal stories and photography. You will see and hear about the icy mountains of Montana and the wild seashores of Maine and Nantucket. As well, there are glossaries of kitchen and medicinal herbs, an exploration of edible flowers, and information on sourcing, growing, drying, and storing your own herbs. And with current statistics showing that people are looking for and conscious of plant-based food now more than ever before, Forest and Home has mass appeal. It is a love letter to our environment, encouraging us to reflect on the things we feel when we are connected to nature. Forest and Home is a non-jacketed hardback and is already available as of September 27th. And for our next book that I'd like to share, it's the official Daniel Tiger cookbook. See, I told you these are vastly different. So Daniel Tiger, this little cub, he has an inimitable way of getting kids excited about trying new foods. So it only makes sense that he has his own cookbook. He's now king of the kitchen. Kids and families will love the 45 recipes based on Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. That's the Little Cubs award-winning TV show on PBS. The cookbook, created by food stylist Rebecca Woods and Amazing 15, they're the graphic design studio who created the New York Times best-selling cookbook, The Official Harry Potter Baking Book. They have designed a delightful experience to get children involved in the kitchen and leading the charge. With simple to follow instructions and full color photography, families will have so much fun working together to serve up treats like Mom Tiger's Banana Swirl or Oh, the Owl's Rice Paper Shrimp Rolls and Miss Elena's Veggie Spaghetti Dinner and even Daniel's birthday cake. There are recipes for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. And what's cool is there are tips for modifying the ingredients to accommodate dietary restrictions. The cookbook also has bonus information perfect for preschoolers, including kitchen safety, nutrition fun facts, and info about allergies. Cooking with children is fun, and it has so many benefits, from developing confidence and an appreciation for homemade meals to expanding taste buds, and also boosting skills such as numeracy, language, and cultural awareness. Kids will come away with such a good feeling, a very good feeling, as Daniel Tiger would say, and grown-ups, they'll agree. Available as paper on board and on sale December 6th of this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Courtney. That was wonderful. I'm a big fan of cookbooks for children, so that's going on my buying list. Next up, we've got Meredith Dees, who is from Robert Rose, to introduce two more books.
Hi, everyone. My name is Meredith Dees, and I'm a senior editor at Robert Rose Books. I wanted to start my presentation of the third edition of the Food Substitutions Bible with an anecdote. We've all been there. You go to make a recipe and realize that you've forgotten a key ingredient or run out of something. This book is here to help you realize that all is not lost if you can't follow a recipe to a T, and will help you gain confidence to make your own modifications while you're cooking. A few weeks ago, my family had been away for the weekend, so I had organized our groceries to be delivered for the week. I was making an Italian wedding soup that called for escarole. When the food arrived, it unfortunately did not come with escarole, which was sold out. Feeling disappointed, I took a look at my trusty Food Substitutions Bible to see what it suggested would work best in its place. While I did not have curly endive, chicory, radicchio, or arugula, I did have baby gem lettuce, which I thought, based on these recommendations, would be closer to escarole than the alternatives in my fridge. I tell this story because this is how I use the book all the time. I don't think there is another book in my collection I refer to as often as this one. And as a result, I've been trying to get our publisher to redesign it for years. When it was first published in 2005, it was a critical and professional favorite, winning an International Association of Culinary Professionals Award. Dave Wacom, the author, is a New York Times bestselling author. He's written more than 50 books and sold over 1 million of them, including the A Man, a Can, a Plan series. What's not to love? But the book looked dated. It was black and white and didn't stand out in an image-focused world. It took the COVID-19 pandemic and food shortages, limited shopping and availability to get our publisher on board. We got a fabulous illustrator, Emily Isabella, to create stunning full-color illustrations. We converted the book from paperback to hardcover. Kenji Lopez-Alt of Serious Eats fame wrote the foreword, and Dave added more material so that this comprehensive book now includes more than 8,000 alternative ingredients, equipment, and techniques, as well as 30 ingredient charts and measurement tables. Looking to replace white wine in a stew and go alcohol-free? Try the same amount of chicken broth. Want to find the best apples for pie? Refer to the picking apples chart in the back matter. Lent out your 8.5 by 4.5 inch loaf pan. The pan size equivalent chart explains that a 10 by 1.5 inch pie or quiche pan will work just fine. This is a book for anybody who cooks with regularity in the kitchen, from home cooks to chefs. While the internet may be filled with advice, you can't find this kind of quality information in one place, I swear. At a time when prices are rising and availability can be scarce, this book is more vital than ever. And which is another reason why I love the Edgy Veg Easy Eats. With people eating less meat because of rising food costs, this is the perfect book for people who are vegan, plant curious, or who are just looking to save money. Candace Hutchins and I have been working together for years. She is the face of the Edgy Veg, a popular blog and YouTube channel where she delivers plant-based recipes. We published the Edgy Veg, her first book, in 2017. It was a bestseller, and what I loved so much about her recipes is that they're so good and they're so innovative. She was one of the first YouTubers to really take on vegan comfort and junk food and show people that you don't have to give up your favorite foods when you stop eating meat and dairy. The initial handle of her blog and YouTube channel was Carnivore Approved Vegan Recipes. As someone who has worked in this business a long time and has seen a lot of material, I hadn't seen vegan food treated this way. And some of that was in Candace's writing and attitude, which felt decidedly young, fresh, and well, edgy. It wasn't precious, nor did she take herself too seriously. This was a vegan book for the fun-loving under 40 crowd. She's so funny, loves a good pun, and her writing has a wonderful energy to it. The book designs reflect this useful energy and is very punchy, unique, and colorful, as are the photos. When we were talking about doing a second book, we listened to a lot of the feedback from the first book, which was that the recipes were unique and delicious, but could take a while to make. In Easy Eats, we wanted to take that same Candace flavor, but with easier to find ingredients and that take less time in the kitchen. Every recipe in this book takes 45 minutes or less, and they are absolutely for everybody. It is not just for millennials or Gen Z only. I have a 14-month-old and 3.5-year-old who absolutely love this book. We're diehard fans of the food court orange cauliflower, the mushroom fajitas that give a sheet, and the it's just a grilled Caesar, remain calm. This is a book that can take you from a one-pot Monday night bowl of pasta to a sprawling summer BBQ, and it's great for people with multiple needs. She makes a mean French toast brunch and a strong cocktail, and she's also very candid about her experiences with mental health issues and her divorce, and there's so much personality brimming in every page. This is more than just a cookbook. It's about rebuilding your life and nourishing yourself from the inside out. Thank you so much for your time and for listening today.
Thank you, Meredith. Wonderful. Most of my cooking involves substitutions, so that's going to be really useful for me. Next up, we have Sarah Billingsley from Chronicle Books to introduce the next two books. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Yes, I am Sarah Billingsley, the editorial director of food and lifestyle at Chronicle. I'm here to speak about two of our best cooking titles from our fall 23 list, starting with Homage. Homage is a restaurateur and Top Chef season 15 finalist Chris Scott's cookbook that helps expand and redefine Black foodways now and into the future. Homage is the culmination of all Chris learned from his Nana, Pearl, and it is to Pearl that Chef Chris pays his homage. Pearl is one in a line of cooks in a family stretching back for hundreds of years in the United States into the rural South, where Chris's ancestors were enslaved. And many of these recipes were passed from person to person over time as members of Chris's family made their way north. Pearl's family settled in northeastern Pennsylvania, which many of you may know is Amish country. So Homage takes as its focus what may seem unusual, yet is deliciously familiar if you start thinking about it. It marries Amish cuisine and soul food. This is a cookbook with a little memoir thrown in, Chris's family and personal stories. There is a section in the center of the book, 16 pages of ephemera, family photos, old menus, etc. The book features 125 recipes for the comforting, delicious food enjoyed throughout the American Midwest and South. You'll find dishes that blend Southern, German, and Dutch cuisine influences, including familiar staples such as chicken and biscuits, spätzle and rice, along collards and chow chow. The book is organized into 7 chapters by part of the meal. Starts with a chapter titled 7 Sweets and 7 Sours, which are the condiments and pickles that are on every Amish table. Breakfasts, greens and beans, hard times foods, celebration foods, breads, baked goods, and finally sweets. Chris respects both his roots as a chef and his family's roots, and he also is a tremendous home cook, and he wrote this book for home cooks. But he also brings that culinary creativity and technique into these recipes. So you'll find a shoe fly pie that is actually ice cream. You'll find a radicchio salad with Coca-Cola boiled peanuts and Amish cheddar. And you'll find his chicken and waffles, his whoopie pies, and the buttermilk biscuits he's super famous for through his Butterfunk Kitchen restaurants in New York. He is based in New York now. Chris, along with other nationally recognized Black chefs, is an exhibit advisor for the Museum of Food and Drinks exhibition about African-American influence on American food. He has not only been on Top Chef, but he has been approached for TV appearances by outlets such as Food Network, Netflix, Bravo, Good Morning America. This is a book for home cooks who loved Tony Tipton Martin's Jubilee, who love Carla Hall, who are drawn to highly narrative storytelling cookbooks with a beautiful range of photos. And also for fans of Chris, who is out there really talking about soul food all the time. My next book is A Dish for All Seasons. I was actually going to start with this book, so now I have to flip around in my notes. Apologies. A Dish for All Seasons is a book. It really represents what Chronicle does in the cookbook space. We try to make books for a general home cooking audience. So this is a highly cookable weeknight recipe book. I made this book with the writer, recipe developer, blogger, and photographer, Catherine Pauline. Catherine is an American, originally from Chicago, of Assyrian descent. She now lives in Australia. Her lovely and award-winning blog is called Cardamom and Tea. The recipes in A Dish for All Seasons combine her Midwestern can-do spirit, ease, and accessible ingredients with the Middle Eastern flavors she grew up with, and also the global lens she's acquired by living throughout Asia and in Australia. The cookbook is a collection of 125 delicious weeknight recipes and 120 color photographs. Almost every dish is photographed in this book. The way the book works is that there are 25 accessible base recipes, and each of these 25 recipes can be spun into seasonal variations. Many of the seasonal variations also include tips for changing things up for different seasons and tastes. And each recipe features a chart of other ideas. So this is really a book that is meant to appeal to people who have a repertoire of core recipes, but constantly vary them. The example in my own home is that we will put just about anything over polenta. If you just take a twirl through the table of contents, you'll see the approach is just family-friendly, weeknight-based recipes, roast chicken, pasta with meatballs, cozy soups, loaf cakes, and each of these categories has its own seasonal variations. The content is divided neatly by breakfast salads, appetizers and sides, mains and sweets. And that concludes A Dish for All Seasons, this useful, resourceful, and practical, beautiful book. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Absolutely spot on. Beautiful looking books. Next up, we have Stephanie Paddy from the University of Manitoba Press. Welcome, Stephanie. Over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Stephanie and I am the Sales and Marketing Supervisor here at the University of Manitoba Press. I'm so excited to talk to you today about a book that we just published this September. It's called Recipes and Reciprocity, and it's edited by Hannah Tate Neufeld and Elizabeth Finnis. So if academia is frequently referred to as the ivory tower, then I like to think that these are the stories that emerge from the ivory tower's kitchen. Around the world, kitchens are so much more than places where we just make food. They're places of connection, of knowledge sharing, and of relationship building. This book features a collection of diverse voices coming together to examine the ways in which food has fostered relationships for researchers in the field. Outside of academia, I think we often have the tendency to perceive research as being kind of cold and sterile. We tend to think of it as being very one-sided too. You have your researcher and you have your subject, the person who does the research and the person who is the subject of that research. Now, as the title implies, the idea of reciprocity is central to all chapters in this book. Reciprocity, of course, can be defined as the practice of exchanging things with others for mutual benefit. Academic writing, too, tends to get a bad reputation, and the perception that I often hear articulated in my role is that academic books are jargon heavy and boring. Well, I'm very happy to say that this is not one of those books. Recipes and Reciprocity uniquely features an entirely female cast of contributors. This book does not lay out research findings. Rather, it offers personal insights on the relationships that were forged while doing field work. Indigenous perspectives and knowledge on food are honored and shared throughout. And I'd like just to take a minute to read a little bit from chapter 6. This is written by mother-daughter pair Adrian and Kitty Lickers. And the chapter is called Our Soup Tells Stories, Kitchen Table Conversations about the Connections, Creations, and Traditions of Soup. Our soup tells stories, though my soup is actually her soup, my mom's, Kitty, or mother, as I sometimes call her. It is also our soup. The shared traditions I have learned and seen over the years becoming a recipe, a story of both of us. The conversation that follows is not so much a dialogue between us as it is a story shared by us with you, our readers. The conversation itself started in the usual way with us. I was asking questions. I was born curious, I think, and my mom has never disappointed when it comes to answering my questions. This particular time, I was asking my mom how she comes up with recipes. Not so much what they were, but the process of how she creates something, a food dish, and then figures out exactly how to share it. I realize now it was not a lighthearted question. I was asking her to define her way of creating and sharing her food knowledge. This chapter and any recipe is more than a recipe for food. The recipe we chose is one my mom has made a million times, it seems. Twisted Sister Soup is my mom's version of something much more traditional to our Six Nations community. These staples are part of our culture and food system and are integral to our community, in this case, literally as soup. The three sisters, the life-sustaining foods, were not the idea that came to mind when I first wanted to tell you the story of sharing recipes and soup. They are the ones that best tell the story because they are so integral to our culture and community. Corn, beans, and squash, known as the Three Sisters, are the foods that are referred to in the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address. This address is known as the words that come before all others, thanking all parts of creation and reminding us as people of our place in the world. Included in that acknowledgement are the Three Sisters as life-sustaining foods. The science behind the nutritional aspects of the Three Sisters is also documented. Since we know that these three foods can sustain us, the recipe we chose was one that would make us thrive, not simply survive. This particular recipe is more of a testament to Indigenous foods in the modern world and our place in it. This is a recipe of personal observation, growth, and community. I think that's really kind of representative of what the book is. Readers are treated to a global, cross-cultural stories about food preparation, sharing, eating meals together, reflections on what it's like to conduct research with children in tow, the ways in which food can connect us to cultural identity, the politics of food, the history of colonialism that is tied to certain foods like tea or bannock, and of course, the odd recipe too. In addition to stories, most chapters in this book do have recipes that can be created at home. And while I would not refer to this as a cookbook in the traditional sense, it could certainly come to occupy a cherished place on many a cook's shelf. I hope you'll check it out.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was fascinating. And it really ties in well with the previous conversation from the last session. So thank you so much. Next up, we've got Molly Gregory. Hello, Molly. Molly is from Gallery Books, Simon & Schuster. So welcome, Molly, and over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me today. I am thrilled to talk to you about two of my favorite holiday cookbooks for this year, starting with The Pasta Queen by TikTok star Nadia Caterina Muno. So when I think of holidays, I think of comfort. Cozy nights by the fire, a glass of wine in hand, loved ones around me, and of course, lots and lots of delicious food. And in my very biased opinion, there is truly nothing more comforting or cozy than a big bowl of pasta. That's why I couldn't be more thrilled to share with you The Pasta Queen, a cookbook that is so warm and heartening that just looking at it will fill you with holiday cheer. The Pasta Queen is the first cookbook from content creator, home cook, and TikTok star Nadia Caterina Muno, who has nearly 5.5 million followers across her platforms. I first discovered Nadia when she went viral in 2020, when all I wanted to do was swim in a bowl of fettuccine Alfredo. And honestly, not much has changed since then. Like the rest of Nadia's followers, I was enchanted by her drool-worthy dishes, her signature red lipstick, and her trademark catchphrases like "just gorgeous" and using tears of the gods as a metaphor for pasta water. But what makes Nadia and this cookbook a true standout is the confidence she embodies and encourages in her readers. Nadia believes that the art of cooking is an act of self-love, that food should be fun, and eating well should be celebrated along with yourself. Messages we can all use this holiday season and heading into the new year. This is no diet cookbook. Nadia has never before shared any of the recipes for any of her dishes, which is what makes this so exciting. This cookbook, which features over 100 pasta recipes, contains the secret for making meals like her viral lemon ricotta delight, assassin spaghetti, and lady of the night pasta, along with Italian classics done Nadia's way. Interspersed between the Pasta Queen's recipes are essays from Nadia about the folklore surrounding her favorite dishes, along with an inside glimpse into her own family's rich history with pasta. She quite literally comes from the macaroni family, and they've been running their own pasta and wine factory in Rome since the 1800s. The book, which was shot entirely in Italy, also features a limited selection of QR codes, which leads to videos in which Nadia breaks down how to create the dishes in her cookbook from a visual perspective. Written in her signature sassy, dramatic voice, reading this cookbook is just as fun as making the recipes from it. Nadia has been a guest on the Drew Barrymore Show, The Today Show, Good Morning America, and she's also been featured in publications such as People Magazine, Cosmo, Parade, The Kitchen, and more. Her platform has more than doubled since we bought this book. It's grown by 140%, and it sees no signs of slowing down anytime soon. With a touch of drama, a whole lot of fun, and dishes that come straight from the heart of Rome and Naples, The Pasta Queen is a carb celebration that you won't want to miss. And it's just gorgeous. This cookbook comes out next Tuesday, November 8th. So if you're looking for some election day comfort food, it is a perfect book buy. Moving on to what I think is a perfect complement to that book, I'm thrilled to share with you The Tucci Table by Stanley Tucci. So for another cozy cookbook that will have your family gathered around the holiday table hours before dinner's ready, look no further than The Tucci Table from beloved actor, foodie, and author Stanley Tucci. A New York Times bestseller originally published in 2014, we reissued this cookbook in October last year, and it's a celebration of family, traditions new and old, and memories that will last much longer than your leftovers. In 2020, Stanley Tucci captured all of our hearts with his viral, soothing Negroni recipe, and he's been delighting us with his love of food and drink ever since. The author of the 2021 New York Times bestselling memoir, Taste, My Life Through Food, Tucci grew up with food as his love language, and in the Tucci table, he extends that love to readers everywhere. Inspired by the recipes he's learned, tweaked, and created over the years with his family, Tucci's cookbook features a wide array of recipes perfect for hosting large dinner parties, intimate gatherings, and meals to celebrate the everyday. From soul-warming starters like ricotta cakes and Tuscan tomato soup, to mains like gnocchi with sage butter and seared lamb chops, along with recipes for basic kitchen items and sides, and every other dish you might need between courses, Tucci guides you from the beginning of a meal to its champagne toast end in this beautiful book. The Tucci table fuses Stanley's Italian roots with his wife's British heritage and ties it all together with his children's American sensibilities. From Tucci's table to yours, this is one cookbook that will soon be an essential ingredient in your own kitchen and holiday cooking. So thank you so much.
And thank you, Molly. That was brilliant. Two wonderful looking books. And I know I have a huge bowl of pasta waiting for me when I get home. So that's made me even more hungry. So next up, we have Connor Deeds from IPG Publishing. Over to you, Connor.
Hi, everybody. My name is Connor Deeds. I am one of the publicists at IPG, Independent Publishers Group. From our humble start as an alliance of independent publishers in 1971, IPG now represents thousands of titles from hundreds of independent and major international presses from around the globe, covering every topic from art, biographies, and cookbooks to genre-bending fiction, pop culture, sports, and more. We're also one of the largest distributors of original Spanish language titles and translated bestsellers. Our newest branch, IPG Publishing, launched in 2022 as a platform to add licensing, co-publishing, and proprietary and custom publishing ventures to IPG's expanding book distribution and in-house publishing programs. And it's in that vein I'm here today because we've entered into a partnership with Dot Meredith to publish the newest version of the beloved and iconic 100th anniversary edition of Better Homes and Gardens' new cookbook. It's the cookbook you all grew up with. It's the red checkered cookbook that you grew up with on your mom's shelf, but this is not your mom's cookbook. They have redone it with all new chapters that not only go over the history and the story of Better Homes and Gardens, which is one of the classic American brands, to new recipes that are perfect for the modern cook and how people are cooking today. From old classics like meatloaf, Swedish meatballs, and beef stroganoff come new modern versions such as their spring stroganoff, where they replace all the heavy ingredients with vegetables and mushrooms to give you the same feel that the classic gave you, but slightly better for your health. The other great thing about this book is that so many people are getting excited about it as well. We've already gotten coverage on CBS this morning. There is interest from numerous television shows to talk about the 100th anniversary and the history of this book. The Washington Post has already agreed to do a feature on it. We're really thinking that this is going to be a really popular edition. Nostalgia is at an all-time high, and people are just so excited to find out more and more about this book. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Connor. That sounds brilliant. Brilliant that you're getting such media coverage as well. So next up, we have Lara Starr from Insight Editions. Over to you, Lara. If you can start your video. Yes, there you are.
Yes, I can. Hi, I'm Lara Starr. I'm with Insight Editions. Insight Editions is all right, full disclosure, I need to turn off my music. All right. Is a publisher based in San Rafael, California. We've been around for more than 20 years, and we are killing it, if I do say so, with our pop culture cookbooks. And I'm going to share two of them with you today. The first is the Seinfeld cookbook. And if you were a Seinfeld fan, sorry, Zoom is asking me things. If you were a Seinfeld fan, you know what a big role food played on the show. They hung out in a diner. Jerry was super into cereal. They had the scenes at the Chinese restaurant. And of course, no soup for you. But there is soup for you in this book. Lots of it. Delicious soup, mulligatawny, bean soup, all kinds of delicious soup recipes. There's babka, because you don't want to go empty-handed. You got to make a babka. The famous scene where they're doing with the junior mints in the theater has been imagined as a junior mint milkshake. And there was the character who ate a Snickers bar with a knife and fork, which was super ridiculous. So they have reimagined that as a Snickers cake that you can actually eat with a knife and fork. Super clever. It's also filled with lots of photos from the series, quotes from the series. It's a great way to sort of deepen your fandom with the show. It's really funny, really clever. And it's the kind of thing where if you have a friend and you know who that friend is, lots of us have them, who were super into Seinfeld, this is the book they need. And what I love about it too is the kids, the Gen Zers, are discovering Seinfeld through the magic of streaming. So there's a whole new generation of people who are discovering the show, who are going to appreciate the cookbook too. A friend of mine brought her son to college earlier this year, and he had a Seinfeld poster over his dorm room, 18-year-old kid. So there's lots of people who have come to the show in the last few years, including everybody who was following it from the beginning. And this is just a great way with them to connect with the stories, with the characters, have a viewing party all through the food. And the next one I want to share with you is the Black Panther Wakanda cookbook. And so Wakanda Forever is coming out next week. Everyone is super excited for this sequel to the amazing blockbuster movie from a couple of years ago. And our Black Panther official Wakanda cookbook is inspired by Marvel's Black Panther comics. And what Yanika Banda, the author, has done is sort of taken on the not inconsiderable and really sort of amazing task of imagining the foodways of Wakanda as though it were an actual place, which it is within the universe of Marvel. So she has taken in the cooking of Africa, which is a huge, obviously huge continent with many cultures and many foodways, sort of synthesized them into what she imagined would be the cuisine of Wakanda. So she took in indigenous ingredients, ways of cooking that would be common in Wakanda. So with less of a reliance on wood or coal or fossil fuels, and more of a concentration on dehydration and alternative energies and other ways of cooking. And she wrote the book in the voice of a character who is the palace chef at Wakanda, who serves the royal family. So there are things like a roasted salmon that was served when the king welcomed Captain America to the palace, and this was what was served at the state dinner. There is a coconut granola recipe that that was brought to Wakanda by T'Challa when he studied overseas, and that's where he discovered granola. And so he brought that back and shared that with his with the palace chef so that she could serve it for the people at the palace. And so it takes a really sort of deep, serious look at African foodways through the lens of the Wakanda universe. So it's a really exciting and interesting and thoughtful way to sort of connect with this world, with this fandom, with these characters through the foods of the continent of Africa. So we're really excited to reintroduce Black Panther Cookbook. It came out earlier this year, but obviously with the new movie coming out, there's a big resurgence in interest in this fandom and in the Black Panther stories. So we're excited to share that with you again and bring a whole new a whole new community of readers to the cookbook. So thank you.
Thank you, Lara. I have to admit to have let out a little squeal when I saw the Wakanda book. I'm very excited about that. Anything that brings the imagination for children into cookery is just inspired. So thank you for that. Thank you for your time. And thank you, everyone. That brings us to the end of our presentation. I'm just going to come back up to our initial screen. I just want to say thank you to everybody, all the publishers that have been involved in today's editors picks. It's been wonderful. It's 7 o'clock in the evening here, which means it's dinner time for me, and I'm so hungry now. So thank you, everybody. I'm going to bring back in Gabriella, I think, to wrap things up. There you are. Hello.
I'm right here, and you're right. All these, it's like 2 by me, which is like a late lunch, and I'm starving. All those
lots of rumbling bellies.
Yeah, it's good that I was muted during that. But these books sound amazing. So yeah, a big thank you to our presenters, to Dan, to you, and to our author panelists earlier. And as we're coming to the end of our day, I just want to thank our audience who joined us. We hope you found a book or 2 or 10 to inspire you to cook and eat more great food with your loved ones. We also hope that you'll keep the conversation going on in our cooking community and invite all your food-loving friends who couldn't come today to join us there too. We'll be sharing recordings of this event in that community, and there's lots of other content to check out, including lists of these books and the authors that we featured at our panels earlier today. And we would just love to stay friends and talk to you some more over there. So that's it for us. Thank you for pulling up a seat to our table. It was great to spend this time with you. Have a lovely rest of your day. I hope you all get wonderful meals. All right, thanks all.